Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. Um, Today is the 25th of November, a couple days before Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. So, continuing my discussion with you guys about my brain tumor, post surgery, things like that. So, another thing that I have dealt with post surgery when I got on steroids, I was on steroids for, like I said, just over 2 years, is I dealt with brain fog fairly often. Like I said, the steroids that I was on was pretty much the strongest one that I know of is dextromethasone. I was on that one for probably, I don't know, almost a year for the most part. And then I got switched to prednisone. And I did notice, definitely even more so, it seemed like on the prednisone, to where I would have brain fog or what I call kind of out of body experience. Notice that one, and it's a pretty scary feeling. So I do a technical job. I'm a sales engineer, so I do a technical sales job, and when you forget things like, wait, what was I doing there? Or the out of body is kind of like just overwhelmed and completely stressed out over simple things. I'm like, dude, I know this stuff. I do this every day. Why am I stressing out over this? And things like that, just everybody I talk to seem to be part of the medication, the stuff that you dealt with. What's some of the things you deal if you're on steroids long term? They call it SAI, secondary adrenal insufficiency. And well, like I said in my last video, a lot of folks, the doctor told me, you're going to be on this rest of your life. A lot of folks are on them, but I'm pretty positive that you can get off steroids. Is it easy? No, definitely not easy. But if you do your research, you can. Like I said, one thing that worked well for me in the research was doing a lot more protein. I also went to an alternative medicine doctor. Another recommendation for me trying to get down is I went on something called licorice root. And it's not licorice like the candy. It's a natural thing that you can do. It's licorice root. I use the liquid part of it. I'm still doing that one post-surgery. I'm using it not near as often, but I'm using it sparingly post-surgery now to kind of help me. What it does, it extends your cortisol. That allows you to have cortisol longer and basically do a better job with it in your body. But be careful. I would definitely say do the research if you're going to get on it, because pretty much I know they said that can raise your blood pressure. So for folks that are on blood pressure medicine, probably not a good idea. Or if you have any problems with your blood pressure already, just be very careful and do your research before you use it. But it worked well for me. I think I did like 2 or 3 weeks on that. I would get off it every week, take a week break from my body, and then go back to it. But it helped me to get off of that steroids a lot. So my main focus now, I'll talk about that more in a minute, is the brain tumor. And of course, I got a tumor in my neck. It's actually like right here in my carotid artery area. It's called a paraganglioma. So if you guys ever dealt with any kind of neck endocrine tumors, it's called paraganglioma. Fortunately, thank the good Lord, both of mine are benign, so they're non-cancerous. But still want to do everything I can to be smart and be healthy about that. But getting back to the steroids, so yeah, brain fog was a thing, and it freaks you out when you forget things and you really need to use your brain. Especially, I just turned 52, so at the time 49, and you're dealing with like, what the heck? So pretty scary, because fortunately I work with a bunch of great folks and very understanding, but your customers and or other folks that you work with may not be as understanding. So very, very blessed to know that and deal with that one. Some of the things I mentioned the last video was, double vision. So like if I move my glasses off, depending on what I'm looking at, I may see a ghost image. I may see 2 images. Like right now, I see kind of 1.5 there on that one. So these are specialized glasses that help me with basically doing prism and taking the 2 images and aligning them into one, right? But I'm actually going to see a specialized doctor, basically a specialized ophthalmologist, to try and help me fix this. I know they mentioned surgery, which I really don't want to go that route. Again, surgery, like I said in the last video, kind of scares me, anything to do with surgery now. So I only do surgery as an absolute have to kind of thing. I try to find alternative routes. Personally, I would encourage you to do the same thing. Use surgery as a last resort. Don't do that as a, hey, have to do it every time kind of thing. But that's my thoughts on things, the route that I go. It may not work for you. Basically do your research and think through it. And definitely what I recommend is praying through it. Like last night when I was going to sleep, I was looking at a lot of things, and I know I'm part. There's a Facebook group I'm part of, the Brain Cancer, and honestly, it overwhelmed my mind because I really felt bad for all the folks dealing with everything that are in worse situations. Another thing that I've learned through this process is like, hey, you think you got this bad? There's people that have it worse. You're alive, you're breathing. What you have is not terminal, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But just it reminds me to be thankful and grateful for everything that I have in my life, and also just to reach out and say a prayer. Maybe I don't know nobody's name, but just to be praying for people and thinking of them. But also sometimes, it's definitely okay to step away when you get overwhelmed. And, for me, again, being a spiritual guy, I felt like the devil was trying to attack my mind and like, oh, this horrible fear, evil things on me, and just had to get away from that and pray about it and think positive. And that's a big thing for me is my faith, just being very focused on God on a regular basis for me. In the morning, waking up, thank you, God, for waking me up, putting on your wake up list, and every day trying to read my Bible and pray. It's like, of course, the absolute right thing to do, in my opinion. In general, I believe that's why we're placed on this earth, was to worship and serve God. Then also it's very good for a lot of reasons, and especially good for when you're dealing with anything. It refocused my mind, I think, the last few years to focus even more on God. Um, all right, so going back to the steroids, like some brain fog, out of mind. What else do steroids do? I had to do bone density tests because if you're on steroids long term, it can also cause osteoporosis. So another reason for me to want to get off those things, one of many. It's kind of funny. You see drug commercials, pharmaceutical commercials showing up on TV, which I freaking hate those things. I wish they would just go off the air. But anyways, it's pretty funny to me. Not funny slash funny, seeing people that are extremely healthy and wonderful, and they pick these drugs. It's like a magic pill for them. But then it'll have like 10,000 symptoms. Like it fixes one or two things, and there's 10,000 things, problems it causes. Steroids, another one. It can cause osteoporosis. It can cause diabetes. It can cause a lot of other things. So I just couldn't wait to get off of the things. So I'm very, very thankful of getting off of those. What are some other things that I dealt with? I dealt with, even while I was on steroids, just like if I didn't get up early, like if I didn't get up at 6:30 in the morning to take my steroids. And by the way, for those of you that are taking steroids, I've talked to a few people about this, and every doctor is different. Definitely always take food. Don't take your steroid on an empty stomach. I always would take food. Also, my doctor also recommended too that I actually take an antacid, because they said it can cause a lot of GI issues if you take them by themselves. So what she had me do is she actually had me take an antacid with food, and I would wait 30 minutes, put a timer out there, and 30 minutes later I would go take my steroid. And then after I took the steroid, of course with food, then usually I'd be good. But if I didn't take that by 6 or 6:30, there's sometimes, like if I didn't set my clock, or sometimes you like hit the snooze on your phone, like, oh, I'll save 10 more minutes. It ends up turning into 20, 30 more minutes. And then I wake up and I'm just like, didn't even notice it till I got out of bed. But once I got out of bed, my body's like, oh my gosh, I hate you. This is really bad. We need cortisol. And I would literally have to try to rush and take my steroid real quick. But often then, because I was late, so it was like 7:30 when I would take it, my body literally felt like I was going to pass out. I would have to lay on the floor. Actually, I take that back. I'd have to go get a cold rag, grab it, lay on the floor, put it on my head, and just lay there for 5 or 10 minutes to calm my body down. And then after that, I would then go up and try to get some more food and get enough protein in me and try to be okay. Still, I've been off steroids for about 8.5 weeks now. I've dealt with all kinds of symptoms post-steroids. So after being off steroids, I thought, oh, cool. Boom, I'm good. No. Your body has to go through a retooling process. So I've gone from some days having nausea. I think 1 or 2 days I got some headaches, but definitely a good handful of days of having some moderate to severe nausea. I remember last Saturday doing an activity with my wife and kids, and I had to take a Tylenol. Like, the pain was just like so bad from the nausea. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to function at all. So did that. But yeah, I've dealt with that. I've dealt with muscle pain. It's kind of funny on my right side mostly. I'm a right-handed person, so like my right thigh, my up above my elbow in my arm, and right there on the edge, the very edge where my arm and my shoulder meet, the muscles there. So the deltoid, the biceps, triceps, and then yesterday I had it in my lower arm, and I do pain management because I've got several other medical issues that I deal with. So she was helping me on the pain, and just basically I've noticed when she was working on that arm kind of thing, the pain would transfer to other parts of my body. So all to say, getting off steroids is a great thing, 100% the right thing and great thing, but it's not like immediately. I actually talked to my endo doctor a few weeks ago. I was explaining things to him, and he said probably for me, being on steroids over 2 years, it's probably going to be, I'll probably see a turning point really at 2 months, which is I'm just past now, then again 3 months, at 6 months, and then probably a year. He was estimating about a year for me to be 100%, even though I've read AI. AI says 3 to 6 months, you're 100%. He said that may not be the case for me. So for you guys that are dealing with that, it may not be the case for you either. So have to wait and see what happens on that one. Yeah, so uh, going back to me, I'm just turned 52. I'm definitely a fighter on stuff. So all of y'all that are dealing with anything worse than I'm dealing, so I know some folks that maybe are going to watch this are dealing with brain cancer. I wish you 100% all the best, all the best, but I would definitely say keep a positive attitude. Some days you wake up, or maybe throughout the day, maybe it's harder, and I've been there. Again, I haven't dealt with the cancer part, but I've been as far as having rough days mentally to deal with. But stay as positive as you can. And I'll give a lot of credit to my wife. My wife's really good to stay positive, even on simple things to where I don't see the negative in there. She does see the negative. So, for me, trying to stay positive, she keeps me lined up in the right direction on that one, staying positive. So keep a positive attitude on that one. There's definitely those days when I was trying to get that low taper down on my steroids, and I may not say much to my family and my wife, because they did say I talk about myself a lot, which I find that too. I guess when you're dealing with this, you talk about it more and you research it more, and you're constantly trying to improve things. I'm doing that right now with my next phase, which is trying to find ways to eradicate these tumors completely out of my body and my neck and my head. Try basically completely dry them up. Get rid of them. That's my. I've been prayed about this a long time. I believe 100%. God is taking care of me. God's going to heal me. God's going to dry them up. I don't know what His process and plan is. And I know I have to do my part. So definitely that's my next goal. But on the steroids, after that, anybody's dealing with brain tumors, just keep as positive as you can and try. I personally, you do what's best for you. If you follow your doctor's recommendations, that's great. But me personally, through this whole process, I've learned I will listen to my doctors. I may not 100% accept what they have to say. I'm going to do my own research and do what I think truly is best for me. My answer to that one is God. God 100%. He is my ultimate healer. He is my guidance and direction. He is the path that I want to follow in life. If I feel led by God to say, yep, go this route, then I'll do it. So for example, on a more serious note, for folks who are dealing with anything with cancer, if you take the traditional Western medicine, the answer traditionally has been maybe chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, whatever of the sort might be the answer. Again, this is no medical advice, and you should definitely do what you think is best for you. I would 100% say follow your body, listen to your body on that one. And if you're a spiritual person like me, my recommendation would be to pray about it. 100%. It's an extremely serious decision on that one. Pray about it. Trust God. Go with what God tells you to do. But for me personally, I wouldn't go that route. I was told last February by a doctor that I should go get radiation done and get my benign tumor in my head zapped out, because they were worried that maybe this could turn into a cancer thing. And I was actually, the whole approach that she took on that, in my opinion, was freaking horrible. I don't know if I want to go there or not, but that was a horrible approach. I actually talked to another person, and he recommended, he goes, no, don't do that. That's not what's going to work for you. Yeah, we could definitely do that, but you're probably where it's at. Mine's actually near my cerebellum. So it was too serious and too tight, I guess, to operate, at least at the time. That's what I was told. So he said, no, don't do it. You'll lose part of your memories on that one. He goes, I would go. I said, what do you recommend? He goes, I would just monitor it. Just do MRI. So I was doing MRIs. I think I did the last couple of years. I've done 3 a year, and now they're going. I did my last one in September. I'm gonna do another one in June. So I'm down to almost once a year kind of thing doing that one. But even that, I'm very much so paying attention. Like, hey, just, yeah, MRI has to be safer than like a CT or an X-ray. But I just want to be careful about putting that much on my body. So pay attention to that. I'm trying to do, for me, more natural things on that one. But getting back to what I was saying, anything you do personally, if you can do natural stuff, natural medication on that to handle that, I know some of the people don't want to talk about that, and maybe they won't agree with that. That's okay. Like maybe ivermectin or mebendazole or something like that. But just do your research, and maybe in a future video I'll get into that more. But anyways, that's kind of where it's at for me. I really enjoyed talking to you guys on this one, and like I said, my faith and my family and friends have kept me through all of this. I'm extremely thankful. I have a great job. I have a great coworker, great boss. Um, they've helped me through a lot of it. Like when I first had my surgery, as I mentioned, I was off work for I think 6 or 8 weeks. I have to go back and look at that. I think it was about 8 weeks, but big part of mine was not having my vision and my glasses and everything that I needed because I couldn't see the computer screen at all. It was just all like all over the place. I couldn't even read the words on there. Other thing I found that I have to deal with now, um, really, this is I don't know, so I just maybe steroids is a small piece of it, but I've had to deal with not only specialized glasses, my quality of life has definitely changed a lot. I mean, I'm thankful. I'm extremely thankful, but I've had to deal with things like my balance. I have vertigo, but just combination probably of my eyes and then my cerebellum and then mentally connecting all of that. I notice that if you didn't know me, you may think I'm a drunk person sometimes because I kind of wobble around and everything. And I tend to sometimes lean heavier on one side, think more of the right side. I feel like my weight. And I know when I walk down the stairs, used to I could just like go up and down the stairs and everything. I have to be more careful and everything, like other things I'm dealing with. But now I have to pretty much hold the railing because I wobble so much. I'm so scared I'm gonna fall. And like if I'm carrying a dish down, I'll usually carry a bunch before. I have to carry one and then hold my hand on the railing. So like in our next house, I do not want two-story. I mean, multiple reasons. I mean, probably gonna be my last house, get older, but then too, I just don't want to deal with all that stuff. It's kind of scary sometimes for me. And I've noticed like if I'm not careful, I have to carefully walk up and down the stairs. I walk heavier kind of thing. So just a lot of changes on that one there. Like I said, I think I don't drive as much. I drive at night, but not a long distance because it's definitely more challenging for me to deal with those things. I mentioned to you guys, I think last time that when I talk, that I have to be more careful sometimes and articulate my words when I talk. Mentioned the hearing aids. My hearing is different, which for anyone that's out there dealing with hearing aids and stuff, um, it's hard. Like I've never had to deal with that before. And you're trying to hear people and say, huh, I've got them maxed out all the way. I've got multiple settings on there where I can kind of turn off some microphones so I don't hear the background noise as much. But still, you want to be careful and try not to be as loud of an environment so you can actually hear people and enjoy the dinner and the conversation on stuff. The same thing last night. We were at a Home Depot. We're going to get a new fridge. And the guy was asking, he's like, type your information in here. Well, the way the computer screen was, I have two sets of glasses also. I have these glasses kind of thing that I can use for, up close on my phone, also for long distance. I have a second pair that I use for computers. So if I've got these glasses on, which is what I was using, I have to be like right on his computer screen to be able to see it. So I had to explain that to him, which kind of is funny. The guy was sharing some of his medical issues that he's dealing with. So we're all dealing with stuff out there. And maybe if you happen to be younger in your in your teens, your 20s, your early 30s, maybe you're not dealing with anything obvious, but I would encourage you to really be kind to folks because people are dealing with stuff. And sometimes if you look at them, hey, everything looks great, look like they're dealing with nothing at all. It's like, well, they're actually dealing with a lot of stuff on things. So just be careful on, being aware of something like that to make sure that you're just being a kind person because you never know what folks are dealing with on stuff. So, all right, well, I think that's about all for this video, but yeah, anything you guys want to see, please reach out. Let me know. Would love to hear from you. All right, have a great day. Talk to you in the next video. Take care.